Several months ago, I met 16-year-old Caroline Dorn from Lakeside High School. She has type 1 diabetes, but is taking this lifelong health challenge and turning it into her mission. Caroline mentors younger kids with the disease, and that's why she won the WJBF Giving Your Best Award. Solvay Advanced Polymers. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Caroline is Molly's real-life superhero.
She gained so much confidence and so much strength and determination from being able to help someone else along the way.
Someone like little Molly Gilstrap.
Meeting Caroline, she realized that she wasn't the only one that wore these devices, wore a pump or had a CGM.
Just watching her grow and mature just in the process of reaching down and offering a hand and pulling Molly up along beside her. The smile, the joy that comes from that, even as they face this disease together.
The type 1 community is very close-knit, so you get to know people because we stick together, because type 1's a disease where, you know, you're stuck with it once you have it. So it's not a club you want to join, but once you join the club, there's wonderful people in it.
She helped change dosing procedures for type 1 by speaking before the FDA in Washington, D.C. last year.
They just approved the label change, so now you can plug the CGM number into your pump and you're able to dose insulin off of that number.
So that makes a big difference for people.
It's a very big difference.
And Caroline hopes to continue making a difference for young patients by going into the field of pediatric endocrinology.
With my pediatric endocrinologist, when I was diagnosed, he wasn't able to tell me it was okay and know from personal experience. But if I'm there to be able to tell someone when they're diagnosed it's going to be okay and that's for real, then I think that would be really important, really special. I'm so happy to have Caroline Dorn with me in the studio right now. Caroline, that was an exciting day, wasn't it?
It was a very exciting day, yes, ma'am.
It was a big surprise for Caroline, and a lot of her family, her grandparents were all here, and some special friends from school, and some of the children that she's been so close to. And I was really impressed that day with Caroline. That's why I've asked you to come back, because in the time since you won that award, you've been back to DC, and you were at JDRF, the Children's Congress.
Yes, ma'am.
So explain a little bit about what that is and why it's so important for people like you to lobby our lawmakers.
It was an incredibly special time for me because I was able to speak to all the different representatives and lawmakers from the state of Georgia, Senator Isaacson, Senator Perdue, and Representative Rick Allen from our district. And I was able to meet individually either with them or their staff members, and then we were able to sit in on a Senate hearing as a whole group of type 1s, and several of the children in Children's Congress testified and shared their story with type 1. It was an incredible experience to be able to share my story and encourage support from lawmakers.
Now, were you about 12 when you were diagnosed?
Yes, ma'am, I was 12.
And you know children who are much younger than that when they're diagnosed.
Yes, ma'am.
And children who really can't be responsible at all for their own dosing.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about why the dosing is so important and what you've tried to work with the FDA about the monitors and the reading.
So it's very important. Insulin is a lethal drug. It can help you live, but it can also kill you. A small overdose, a small underdose can be incredibly harmful, so it's very important to have help when you're dosing. And even now I run checks by my mom to be sure that I'm doing everything correctly. And when I spoke to the FDA 2 summers ago, I testified about CGMs, which are continuous glucose monitors. And with a continuous glucose monitor, I can see my blood sugar every 5 minutes. And those numbers are extremely important because then I can know when maybe I need to dose a little bit before I eat or when I don't need to dose right before I eat if my blood sugar is on the low side. And we were discussing the use of CGMs to dose insulin off of the number that it provides. So it provides you a number, but it's never been approved for you to dose insulin off that number without an additional finger stick. And so now CGMs are allowed to be used to dose insulin off of after that FDA meeting.
And that saves the finger sticks.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You only
Right.
have to calibrate the sensors now instead of, pricking every single time you want to dose.
I just can't imagine how hard it is to live with a disease like this and to have to be so responsible for your own health.
Some of the signs and symptoms, especially ones that I exhibited, were extreme thirst, using the restroom very frequently, sometimes wetting the bed for younger children, ketones, which would produce a fruity smell in your breath, which means that there's too much sugar in your urine, and that would signal a high blood sugar as well, which leads to a type 1 diagnosis.
And you said something to me before that I thought was very interesting.
After I was diagnosed, we all became a little more careful about what we were eating, thinking about, do I really need that extra cupcake, or do I really need that extra plate of food, and me, I had to portion my food so that I could dose for it correctly. I think it helped all of us in our eating habits.
How do you approach something like Thanksgiving? I mean, a time when a lot of us just think, okay, we're going to pig out because calories don't count today, or whatever. How do you, when it can really impact your health, how do you plan for a day like Thanksgiving?
Well, as a type 1, I can have anything that I want to eat. I just have to dose the insulin for it. And I just approach it with some measuring cups and measuring spoons and just go for it like anybody else would. I mean, everybody needs to take moderation during a big holiday like Thanksgiving, but I take the measuring spoons and I just go for it, because the more accurate I can be with my dosing, the easier Thanksgiving is for me.
I saw recently where you had a booth at the Polo Championship, and I'm sure that you have booths at a lot of different things. Why is it important to raise awareness?
It's very important to raise awareness because type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes are very commonly confused, whereas they're very different diseases. There are some similarities in where type 2 can potentially be insulin dependent, but type 2 is also reversible, whereas type 1 you have it for your entire life. It's very important to educate people that type 1 is not reversible. You can't ever get rid of it. You have it and you're stuck with it because there's no cure as of right now.
Well, Caroline, you are an amazing young woman, and I would encourage all of you to go to the website, just click on the JENNIE link, and you'll see the story about Caroline, and you can find out more information about how to support JDRF and why it's so important, and best wishes to you, and be healthy.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll be right back.